Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Before you go and park your money somewhere random or even worse, just leave it sitting in your checking account earning absolutely no interest. Let's talk about this option right here, UFB Direct. Is it actually worth it in 2026? It's time to update our review from the past. And so I did the research so you don't have to. So stick around because by the end of this, you know exactly whether this account deserves your money or not. All right, so first things first, who even is UFB Direct? Because I get it. You've probably never heard of them, and that's kind of the point we need to address right away. So, UFB Direct is actually a fully online organization, online bank. There's no branches, no tellers, there's no lollipops at the counter. Yeah, that's actually kind of sad. We used to give out lollipops at the bank where I used to work, but it's powered by a company called Axos Bank, which has actually been around since 2000, and it's not some random startup that launched last Tuesday. They focus mainly on savings accounts, but they also offer checking and mortgages. Today, though, of course, we are going to be laser focused on the high yield savings account and whether or not it's worth switching to. So, with that being said, we're going to go right into the meat of the video. So, here's actually something useful that you can steal right now. And when evaluating any savings account or any bank out there, personally, I don't just look at the interest rate and call it a day. I run through this checklist first, and is the APY competitive? Because that's the whole point. Second, are there any fees or minimums? Because fees, of course, eat up on your earnings. Third, of course, can you actually access your money when you need it? You want at least 6 withdrawals per month. That is very standard in the industry. Many banks out there are offering unlimited withdrawals from a high yield savings account, which is an awesome perk. And fourth, is your money FDIC insured? FDIC coverage up to at least $250,000 is standard. And anything above that, of course, is a bonus. And fifth, does the brand feel trustworthy? That's actually one of the X factors that I emphasize every time I make this video. So always keep that in mind. It doesn't matter what the brand offers if you don't have that warm and fuzzy feeling of trust, comfort, and confidence in an organization. So, with all this being said, keep this checklist in mind as we go through this UFB Insight together. And if you don't know anything about me, by the way, my name is Alex, and my goal here is to help you make more informed decisions to increase your income and build your financial security. Now, if you find this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if UFB Direct is for you today, make sure that you sign up with the links in the description. Now, with that being said, let's get right into the actual numbers here. As of February 2026, now going into March, UFB Direct is offering 3.26% interest or APY. And here's what's actually cool about that. It doesn't matter how much money you have in there, whether you have 500 or $50,000, you are getting the same rate. A lot of banks out there pull a bait and switch where the best rate is only for balances above $1 million or 800,000 or 250,000, some crazy high threshold. So not here right now. No minimum deposit as well. There's no monthly fees, and your money is FDIC insured up to $250,000 individually, or 500K if it's a joint account. They also have Insure Guard Plus, which can push that coverage up to $265 million. I mean, like, I don't know who watching this video. It's going to be like looking into $260 million FDIC insurance. But hey, most of us will never need that much to put it. Certainly, I would have put that much money in a freaking savings account. But anyways, but still cool to know. Now, the one thing to note here is that no opening bonus for the savings account, but if you bundle it with their checking account, you do get a small APY bump. It's about 0.2%, as you can see on the screen. Now, with that being said, my friends, now let's see where it gets real, right? Because let's say, as an example, for the sake of simplicity, you got $10,000 in your savings and or you are working towards that. Now, UFB Direct, the 3.26%, that's $326 a year just sitting in your account. You didn't do anything. Now, if you compare that to the average traditional bank paying about 0.04%, that is $4. $4 for the whole year. Of course, that's assuming the rates stay consistent and no further contributions are implemented. Now, the difference overall, this bank would give you an extra $322 a year on $10,000. That's just sitting there right now. If you scale that up to 25 or $50,000, and now, of course, you're talking real money. And the crazy part is that so many people are leaving money on the table just because switching banks feels like a hassle. It really isn't, right? So just ask yourself, is $322 per $10,000 worth 20 minutes of your time? I mean, of course, that's going to be up to you. I think it is. Now, here is a screenshot, of course, proving what I just talked about. This just confirms the APY currently. Now, one insight here is that the Fed will be meeting in March again, and they'll be talking about interest rates. So it's the expectation that interest may go down again, which is going to directly impact high yield savings accounts and their interest. But until then, hey, we can all take advantage of these awesome interest rates, which are still great, even though they have been kind of going down over the last maybe year or so. Now, here's of course also the screenshot on the bonus that you get when you pair it with a checking account. All right, so now let's make this more practical because it's easy to think, yeah, savings account, I'll do that later. But right now, we are heading into tax refund season, right? Like a lot of people are about to get a check from the IRS, and honestly, the worst thing you can do is just let it sit in your checking account when you just figure out what to do with it. So dump it in a high yield savings account and just let it work for you while you think, whether it's UFB Direct or another one. The same thing if you're saving maybe for a spring break with your kids, maybe it is a summer trip, or even just building an emergency fund. The point is, the money has a purpose, and while it's waiting to be used, it should just be earning a little bit of interest. Does that make sense? Like, why would you just leave money on the table? In fact, currently I'm using high yield savings accounts. My wife and I, we are planning our next baby boom. We are expecting another kid, and so we're super excited. We have a baby moon in a couple of. We actually just booked the hotel, and so we're super excited. So, anyways, that's just something that we just decided to do this week, and we're looking forward to that. All right, now this is a question that I get all the time, and I'm gonna go over two frequently asked questions here when it comes to high yield savings accounts, and it's actually a really smart one to ask, right? Like, what happens if UFB Direct or any bank for that matter, that is FDIC insured, of course, what happens if it fails, if it goes under? And it's happened in the past, unfortunately. And here's the honest answer, right? Like most of the time, when the bank fails, another bank just buys it out and your account just transfers without you doing anything. That's like the simplest way to transfer your money. Like they just do it all for you. But in the rare case that nobody buys the bank and then the FDIC steps in and just cuts you a check, usually within a couple of business days. That's why FDIC insurance matters so much. Your money up to 250K is protected by the federal government. And with UFB's like program of Insure Guard Plus, then you can extend that all the way up to like in the millions, right? So honestly, the fear of a bank failing shouldn't be the reason you avoid a higher interest rates to begin with. So, but that's a common question. Now, another question here when it comes to taxes is, hey, do you have to pay taxes on your high earnings? Yes, you have to pay taxes on your high yield savings accounts, on certificates of deposits. It is all earned interest. Now, if this surprises people, a lot, right? So your savings interest is taxable income, but here's the thing. It's not complicated at all. And at the end of the year, your bank just sends you a form called a 1099 INT. And then you either hand it to your accountant or you just plug the number into your tax software. It's very, very simple. And the tax that you owe is based on your normal income tax rate applied to however much interest you earn. So if you are, let's say, in a 22% bracket and you earn $326 in interest, you might owe around $70 on that money. You're still up 256 bucks compared to doing nothing. So it's still very much worth it in my personal opinion. All right, now let's talk about how you actually use the account day to day. You do get online banking, of course, very standard mobile app and even SMS banking, which I honestly thought was kind of old school, but some people love it. Also, here's the thing that's actually rare for an online savings account. They give you a complimentary ATM card. Now, most high yield savings accounts out there don't do that because you would need to use a checking account and then the checking account would have a debit card and then you'll be able to just transfer and kind of like do a back way. But this one just gives you direct access to your high yield savings. And I think that's actually a cool perk. Now, for deposits, you can do bank transfers, direct deposits, you can mail in a check or use mobile deposit. And when you need to pull money out, it's typically 1 to 3 business days. That is when you transfer from bank to bank, which is pretty standard. So just keep that in mind. This is better suited for money that you don't need right away, the transfers, that is. Okay. Now let's get real here because every product has trade-offs. And I'm not here to tell you how great the UFCB director is. Like, I'm not telling you here about any of the organizations that I talked about, how amazing they are. All I do is I highlight the pros, the cons, and the best features. And then at the end of the day, help you decide whether or not an organization X is for you. Now, the pros with UFB Direct is a solid 3.26 APY flat across all balances. There's no fees, no minimums, FDIC insured, of course, and it's got, generally speaking, good customer reviews and an ATM card that we just talked about. Now, with respect to the cons, of course, it's a real. There are zero physical branches, so if you're somebody who just likes walking into a bank, talking to a person, this is not the best one for you, right? And also, the brand isn't exactly a household name. Like maybe it is Bank of America. Like even like you can hate it or love it, but Bank of America is like a household name. It's a powerhouse in banking. Chase, another powerhouse in banking. They give you crappy interest rates, but we can't negate the fact that there are giants in the space. But UFB truly is not, right? It's kind of like under the radar. Some people know about it, some people don't. And if you never heard of UFB Direct before, hey, you're not alone, right? So, but it is backed by Axos Bank, and that of course adds legitimacy. But it's fair to say it doesn't have the same trust factor as Chase of a Bank of America, as I mentioned. So be honest with yourself about whether that matters to you or not. Okay, so now I want to talk about something that actually not many other personal finance creators or influencers, however you want to call us, talk about, and that is risk. And I actually do risk for a living, and I've been in as a risk manager for the last couple of years. Now I also leverage my risk experience to help in my current job. But there's two main risks here, and these are worth taking seriously. Now, first, the APY is variable, right? So the 3.26% can drop at any time without notice. And that's just how savings accounts work. Now, how do you protect yourself? You just currently just check the rate monthly and or every 90 days, and you just do a quick comparison against competitors. You should just be within 0.5% of each other, right? Like 0.5% is really not that much. And of course, the more money you have and the longer time goes by, it does make a difference. But for most people who are putting money into a savings account, and maybe it is your emergency funds, the difference is going to be probably like $100, if that, depending on who you're comparing this account to. But at the end of the day, I don't want to confuse you. Check your account continuously, set a calendar reminder. And then the second risk is UFB Direct is a lesser known brand. And even though it's backed by Axos Bank, some people just aren't that comfortable with that. And of course, that's valid. But here, the mitigation or the solution, the way I see it, is just doing your research, which honestly you're already doing by watching this video, right? So always stay informed and where your money's sitting. And as long as the bank is FDIC insured, and of course is legit, which hey, UFB is a legit bank, then it's all good to go. I'm just giving you here general guidelines so you can make the best decision for yourself. Now, at the end of the day, here's what I want you to take away from this video. Now, there's no perfect organization, right? Like every financial organization has good and bad reviews, and that's just nature of financial products and the internet. What matters is whether the complaints are relevant to your specific situation, how recent they are, and whether the overall picture still works for you. UFB Direct is not perfect. Hey, no bank is. The goal is to find what fits your needs and your comfort level, not to find the perfect organization that doesn't exist. Okay, all right. So here's my honest take on this organization. If you're comfortable banking fully online, you want a solid APY with zero fees and no minimum, and you're looking for a simple place to park your savings without overthinking, then hey, UFB Direct is a generally good option. I think it's a set it and forget it type of account. But if you like the value of walking into a branch, talking to somebody face to, or just want a name that you already recognize and trust, then this is probably not your best move. Also, if you're somebody that wants a higher bonus, perhaps you want a full banking hub or you want a nice bonus on top of a nice APY, then there's a couple of other options, like for example, SoFi, Barclays are other two good options that I talked about here on the channel. So I'm actually gonna also link them in the description here of this video where you can go and learn more. At the end of the day, the best savings account is the one that you'll actually use and feel good about. Now, if you are interested in opening an account with UFB Direct, or if you want to explore other options with similar or higher APYs, hey, check the links in the description and the pinned comment. And if you watch this whole video, then thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Let me know what kind of organization or account you like me to go over next and go over the risks, the pros and cons, etc. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace.